Hey everyone, it's your buddy Crypto Profit back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about Internet Computer Price, ICP. We see in the last year a 615.61% increase. However, if you take a look at the last 24 hours, we're seeing a massive 10% decrease, the massive week span of 32% of a decrease, and the massive month 80% decrease. So like I said, pretty much across the board, massive decreases. I do think Internet Computer is going to have a stabilization point at some point. We're just going to talk about today where we may see that stabilization, where we may see a correction, and maybe a recovery for Internet Computer price. So obviously, a lot of people have invested in Internet Computer, and if you invested at this, all-time high around $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, $700, or even $750, unfortunately, you are going to probably have to wait quite some time to see your reward, or really returns back, I should say, return on investment. Obviously, right now, ICP has been doing quite a bit of things behind the scenes. We've been seeing a lot of great updates really coming into play, but, recently, in the last 24 hours at the very least, a 10% decrease is going to have a lot of people worried. And I did want to kind of mention and talk about really where this is going to be going from here on out. So I talked about this in a previous video, talked about ICP really being overpriced at its current price point, talked about how we are going to continue to see a drop and dip, and that's exactly what we're seeing. So $7.8 billion is the current market cap, with a volume in the last 24 hours being $272.6 million of volume, which is actually quite a bit of volume for a coin that is continuing to struggle. So a lot of that is obviously going to be sell pressure. We're continuing to see Internet Computer as a utility token that allows users to participate in and govern the Internet Computer blockchain network. The network aims to help developers create websites, enterprise IT systems, internet services, DeFi applications by installing their code directly on the public internet. ICP can also be staked or converted into cycles that can really be used to power computation for dApps and traditional applications. So with this 10% decrease, a lot of people, like I said, are having questions about where we will actually see it kind of stabilize out and make a recovery phase from. And I'm going to talk about that here in just a second. Remember, I will talk about price predictions for June, July in 2021 at the end of the video as well. I do want to jump into some of the recent really news and information to talk about with ICP before we talk about that, though. So jumping into the first tweet, this one talks about, number one, the reins of network governance for the Internet Computer are firmly in the hands of broader community, which controls around 60% of the voting power. So this is definitely a good thing, obviously, giving the community a chance to actually vote and have a decision on some things. We also see the Dfinity Foundation and the Internet Computer Association will never collectively hold more than 50% voting power. At Genesis, the combined voting power between these two not for-profit organizations is 40%. So you can actually see a graph here. Kind of goes into detail on, you actually can't see it, I don't think, because of my screen, but let me move that over so you can actually see all of the percentages real quick. So these are the percentages. Obviously, let me see if I can recenter it now. Let's hope that's good enough. You guys can see everything, I think. But basically what you're seeing here is obviously the idea of trying to give power to the community, which is definitely a good thing. Going down farther, it talks about as more ICP tokens are distributed and as token holders, really stake tokens to participate in network governance, voting power of the Dfinity Foundation and Internet Computer Association will decrease, enabling the community to take a greater role in the governing really the network as a whole. So to date, 4,970 proposals have been submitted to the NNS and voted on by the community. And you can actually read more about, really governance and how the voting power of Neuron is calculated. But I do want to talk about this tweet as well. So this one jumps a little bit farther into, did you know that ICP token holders have been earning substantial voting rewards by staking in the NNS? So you can actually stake in the NNS, and we've talked about that as well. So we won't deep dive too much into that. But jumping on to the next one, this one talks about I can never say this. Motoko is open source. So this marks 3 years of intense development by the Dfinity Foundation's Motoko team, led by WebAssembly co-creator Andreas Rosberg. So we are seeing, big things taking place. This one talks about how Motoko is strongly typed, actor-based, and has built-in support for really persistence and message passing, and we see much more as a possibilities obviously than that. And if you jump into the Medium, you can read more about it. We won't go too much into it today, but like I said, a lot of possibilities, a lot of things are taking place behind the scenes of Dfinity and obviously ICP. Taking a look at the next tweet, this one talks about within 2 weeks of launching the Internet Computer Developer Ecosystem Program, they received 130 plus proposals. A committee is reviewing submissions and working with development teams around the world to grow the Internet Computer Developer ecosystem. So this is one thing that could be huge, obviously, for ICP as a whole. If we could get some great projects into the ecosystem altogether, we would be seeing really some great things taking place. And I think realistically, all it takes is a few great projects to join the ecosystem to start moving ICP back in the right direction. I do want to talk, like I said, though, about ICP, where it's at right now, what's really going to take place in the upcoming weeks and months ahead. So let's jump back to the price chart because there's a lot to talk about. We saw it dip right down to 58.63 after a huge increase to that 750.73 May 9th at 8 p.m. So just a massive decrease here. Like I said, just a lot of potential was put in here. We saw, actually, let's go back to I'm just going to move back here to March. So yeah, we saw it come from, 41.46 March 7th. We actually had a nice increase to 264, dipped right back down to $124, and then a huge, like I said, increase to 750, and then right back down to 261.21. This is one of those coins that a lot of people have been talking about quite a lot because it's one of those coins that has a pretty insane price chart. Obviously, with an insane increase down to an insane decrease, you're going to be seeing a lot of people with a lot of money made and a lot of money lost. So it depends on which side of that you are on, if you really do like ICP right now or not. But, realistically, a lot of you guys are on the loser side. So unfortunately, I do think we are going to continue to see ICP drop. I think we could easily see ICP drop to even $40, $45 mark before we see, maybe a stabilization or recovery. A lot of people are just tired of ICP and they're trying to get out. I don't think ICP is a bad coin at all. I don't think it's a coin worth not looking into. I think it's still one that I see a lot of potential in. Unfortunately, the price is still, in my opinion, just a little bit overvalued. I think it's not a $7.9 billion market cap. So I do think we are going to drop that to, like I said, $40 to $45 before we can maybe start to see a recovery. I think $45 is the earliest we would see a recovery realistically. But, we'll see how far we drop. Realistically, I don't think it's a great buy-in at the moment. I think if we drop a little bit farther, that would be, turning into maybe a possible great entry point for us. But if you're holding for the long term, it probably doesn't matter because with ICP, realistically, we continue to see big increases. I think, going through, 3 to 4 years from now, the next bull market could be huge for ICP. But right now, like I said, at this current price point, I'm not impressed with really where we're at. The market cap's still a little high in my opinion. I would not be investing right now, but I will say if you're a holder and you don't want to take out and lose your money, I do think you will make your money back. It just may be a matter of time. But like I said, I do want to do price predictions because this is a coin that I still believe in. I still think it has a lot of potential. I don't think it's a bad coin. I just think, unfortunately, the price is still just a little high for my liking. So jumping into the month of June, I think realistically we see ICP pushing closer and closer to possibly a $55 to $65 price point. Realistically, guys, I don't think we're going to see much movement. Maybe just decreases for the most part, but I do think ICP, like I said, still overpriced. We could still see it drop all the way to $45. So by the end of June, if we don't see it drop to about 45, we may see a stabilization and recovery a little before then. But if we do drop to $40, $45 by the end of June, we could even see much more of a drop. So just be a little bit, patient on this one. If you're holding, that's perfectly fine. There's almost no risk in holding if you just don't sell and you remain positive and understand that, ICP is a long-term coin that has long-term potential and capabilities. If you don't need that money right now, holding is not a bad option. But I will say, buying right now is it's just too risky, in my opinion, to jump in. I will say, guys, I'm not a financial advisor, so always do your own research before investing. But jumping forward to July, I think realistically we do see slow movement back up. If we hit that $45 bottom in June, I think we do see a slow rise back up in July, and definitely going into late July, I think we could actually see Internet Computer pushing back to that $60 price point in July, and then hopefully being on a great recovery period. So if you're looking to buy this, you could put buy orders in at $45, $50, hoping for a nice dip before buying in. But like I said, at $60, $61, just a little bit overpriced in my opinion. And like I said, I think the market cap's just a little high. We have volume that's kind of getting lower and lower each and every day. So realistically, it's just not a great buy-in at this time. But going into the end of 2021, end of the bull market, I do think we could actually see Internet Computer doing fairly well, maybe making its way back to about $120 to $160. So that would be a great increase from this current price point. That's if we get into a very solid bull market and we get some great developments into the Internet Computer price really ecosystem altogether. And that's what we saw here, and that's what we were talking about this developer ecosystem program. They received 130 plus proposals, which is huge. So it really depends on some of these projects proposals. that turn into the ecosystem. And I will say, it does depend a lot on Internet Computer and their updates and upgrades. And, realistically, it's going to really depend on all of the holders themselves. If they want to hold the token, it's going to continue to rise. If they want to sell the token, obviously, we're going to continue to see a dump take place like we did in the last 24 hours. So, like I said, guys, we'll try to continue to keep you guys up to date on ICP. It's one of those coins that I'm not 100% comfortable with just because, I'm not invested personally, and I like to invest in the coins I talk about just so that I have, a foot in it, or, I guess my own little stake into the coin itself. I just never found Internet Computer at a great price. I didn't, unfortunately, see it before, before March. If I would have invested, February, I would be looking all right now, or even January, but I didn't see it February, January. So because of that, I just, stayed out of it because I thought, at 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, $700, it was just overpriced, and now still at 60.89. I don't see it, really I don't see it as worth the risk to jump in at this price point. So I'm going to wait a little bit longer. Maybe if we get down to $50 to $45, $40, I will jump in. But, as of now, at $60 at a $7.9 billion market cap, I'm going to be waiting this one out. So I think this is, like I said, still a great coin, still great opportunities for the future. It's just going to be a little bit before we start to see that really pay off. So thank you guys again for tuning in. I really do appreciate all the awesomeness that you guys have been supporting me for quite some time with 100K subscribers right around the corner. If you guys would I would greatly appreciate it if you guys subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on, and like the video. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys are thinking on Internet Computer. It's definitely, like I said, one of the trickier coins to really follow. The TA doesn't really add up. You're not seeing much possibilities in the future with the TA, and I think realistically, you can't just go off of TA. You have to go off of news and information. And I think that's exactly what I'm trying to do with Internet Computer. So we'll try to keep you guys up to date. We'll try to do my best on Internet Computer. This is definitely, like I said, one of those coins that I'm the most unsure on out of every coin I cover. So we'll, like I said, we'll try to continue to keep you guys up to date with this wild card as we move forward. So thanks again, guys. I'll see you all in the next one.